I am going to use the powers that have been granted to me to call the legislature into special session.
They didn't have any whiff of this until the governor made his announcement.
This is not how to operate government.
And it has been a night of unknowns following that surprise announcement this afternoon by Governor Matt Bevin.
This governor, no matter what you think of him, he's willing to tackle this issue straight on.
For these teachers to get in their cars and drive to the Capitol, and many of them did.
There are many people who are sitting on this floor tonight, here in the House and also in the Senate, that do not have their seats come January, and there was a reason why.
It has become clear that we need to bring this closed session to a close.
In a surprising move tonight, Kentucky's House of Representatives adjourned that special session without passing that pension bill.
Governor Matt Bevin calling the abrupt end of this special session disheartening.
With me personally, with these legislators personally, with any future legislature, this problem still exists.
That this majority party is wrong. And they are wrong on this issue. They tried to come in here and ramrod this bill down everybody's throat again.
I am going to use the powers that have been granted to me to call the legislature into special session.
Kentucky lawmakers are headed back to work in just 2 hours. Governor Matt Bevin calling for that session at 4 o'clock this afternoon, surprising lawmakers and causing protest groups to scramble to the Capitol. Paulina Butska joining us now with the details. And Paulina, this is pretty sudden today.
It absolutely is, Lisa. Now, this is take 2 at trying to repair the broken pension problem. Governor Matt Bevin tonight calling a special session saying the pension system is a financial failure. After months of protests and upheaval from the public, the final straw, the recent Supreme Court ruling saying the pension reform law that passed was in fact unconstitutional. Last April, lawmakers passed Senate Bill 151 by putting it into a sewer treatment bill, a process Attorney General Andy Beshear challenged in court. With that law now gone, the governor says solving the pension system for state employees is top priority.
Who have done what was asked of them and expect in return for that the promises that have been made to them, whether the promises should have been made or not, whether they should have been different promises, is a moot point for those who have retired under the assumption that things were going to be provided.
Now, Bevin says that elected lawmakers have a moral and legal responsibility to save the pensions, and time is not on their side. Democrats have released a statement saying Governor Bevin's political stunt, which will cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars, is a slap in the face to hardworking Kentuckians.
Political editor Chris Williams has been speaking with lawmakers who say they are scrambling to get to the Capitol tonight.
I was talking to a leading Democrat about an hour ago, who said they didn't have any whiff of this until the governor made his announcement. I spoke to some leading Republicans who said they had not heard about this.
KEA President Stephanie Winkler saying the special session is nothing but a public temper tantrum.
Just not the right thing for the people of Kentucky, and frankly, they expect better from their elected officials. We have higher standards than that in Kentucky, Governor Bevin, and we expect you to do better.
We have team coverage on 11 at 11. Robert Bradfield talking with one large group that did make it to the Capitol. But first, political editor Chris Williams on where lawmakers stand tonight. Chris, a very bizarre turn of events today.
At least I'm standing on the Senate floor. At any minute, we're told that the Senate could come back and try to reconvene, and we'd have to move from our location here. But I'll tell you what's at stake for you tonight at home. It's between $60,000 and $65,000 every day. By 9 o'clock, both had gone into closed-door meetings with Republicans poring over a pension plan and Democrats wondering whether the governor's party had enough support to pass anything.
And we're here. He called us into session. We've got a job to do. It could be a messy job, but we're going to do it because we've got to put Kentucky on the right path financially.
The reason this bill got struck down unanimously by the Supreme Court is because no one had any notice or a chance to read it. And now we're here again on day one of a special session with 4 hours notice, and no one has been given a copy of the bill. This is not the way we should do things.
One teacher I did speak with drove 2 hours from Knox County. She is against this special session and is urging lawmakers to wait until the regularly scheduled legislative session in early January.
Calling a special session now, just before the holidays, 22 days before the regular session is to begin, feels like a slap in the face to everyone who went to the polls in November and spoke through their votes.
Now, that teacher did tell me she does plan to be back in the classroom tomorrow, so she will be driving the 2 hours back at some point. Some of these school districts do have finals, at least on the high school level this week before the holiday break, so many of these teachers will be driving back to their districts, but I did overhear a couple teachers say they have a change of clothes if needed.
I object strongly to what is being done here tonight. I object strongly and loudly.
Of course, cheers erupted in the House gallery as Minority Leader and gubernatorial candidate Rocky Atkins attacked House Bills 1 and 2, the plans Governor Matt Bevin wants lawmakers to pass to fix the state's pension crisis. Many did not make it to the House or Senate by the 8 p.m. deadline, but by 9, there were enough to start business, and they headed behind closed doors digesting the plans.
The governor has been asking me my thoughts about a special session. And I gave him my thoughts.
What are they?
That's a discussion between the governor and I.
You think it was smart for him to call for the special session?
It's his constitutional prerogative.
We're going to find out very quickly what all is a part of this proposal. We're going to get our members' input. We're going to get public feedback. And we will move expediently. We're not going to waste any time here.
I did speak with one retired teacher who's here for her son, who's now in his 3rd year teaching. She believes that the pension bill is passed and signed into law, newer teachers or those looking to begin their career will now be looking out of state because of better benefits.
I was always taught to have some common sense and think for myself and stuff and things, and apparently these people don't. And they remind me of sport children and stuff that their parents tell them not to do something and they go ahead and do it anyway.
Governor Bevin's attorney or legal counsel here, Steve Pitt, did send a letter to all lawmakers today urging quick action on pension reform.
And I applaud those who came here in good faith in an attempt to save the pension system.
But Governor Bevin says there simply were not enough votes among his own party to pass pension reform. Republican House and Senate leaders met with the governor Tuesday night, telling him they could not reach an agreement. Governor Bevin's lawyers urged lawmakers to make some headway this week, or the state could suffer a credit downgrade because of the unfunded pension for state workers.
Your ability to borrow money, the rates at which you'd be able to borrow it if somebody would even lend it to you, what that means in terms of people's confidence in you, all these things that would apply to you individually, the same things on a much larger scale apply to the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
We will preside over the ultimate solution to this problem.
Speaker Pro Tem David Osborne addressed the House floor while urging his Republican colleagues to come prepared early next year to tackle the issue.
This majority will not run from our obligation. This majority will do what the voters of Kentucky has empowered us to do. We will tackle the difficult issues.
With any future legislature, this problem still exists. It has to be on the docket.
The 2019 legislative session starts January 8th. That is when lawmakers will reconvene here. There will be some new faces as those who were elected in November also take their seats then.
And in an effort to prevent a repeat of the last couple of days, Secretary of State Allison Lunderman Grimes wants all pension bills available for public review for at least 24 hours. Working with Representative Jody Richards, Grimes has drafted a bill for a constitutional amendment ensuring people are given a day to review legislation about public employees' pension plans. In a statement, Grimes says she wants to ensure no matter who's in charge, we, quote, never go through this dysfunctional process ever again.
This special legislative session likely cost taxpayers around $131,000. With no new legislation coming out of the session, several lawmakers, many on the Democratic side of the aisle, say the past 2 days were a waste of taxpayer dollars. But Governor Bevin says he would do it again in a heartbeat.
This was a terrible plan. This was irresponsible of this governor to call this on short notice.
To do the right thing is never a waste of time and money. To attempt to save the system, to agree with that statement would to say, let anybody who happens to be expecting a retirement check just go blow in the wind.
Now, Speaker Pro Tem David Osborne said last night there were differences between the proposed bill that Bevin gave leaders on Monday and the bill passed last spring, and that those differences prevented a consensus on being reached.